I'm Liz, founder of Worth It, coach and positive psychologist that specialises in working with young people to improve wellbeing and resilience. And what I'm going to be talking about today is psychological barriers to learning and how we can overcome those through using coaching. Now, with all the changes that are happening in the SEND reform and the white paper and the Ofsted new framework, there's a drive to close the gap by reducing barriers to learning. Now, a lot of those barriers can be physical or tangible barriers, such as access to right technology or learning equipment and things like that, or they can be psychological. And I think psychological barriers is a massive area that gets underlooked at and under-resourced because we're not instilling the resourcefulness within the individual children and young people themselves to navigate those challenges and setbacks and increasing capacity for them to be able to do that. Barriers might be caused by a range of contextual factors, that the child or young person is from a community that is of low aspiration, or they're born into a socially disadvantaged area, or their family have come from another country and they're the first person that's learning English in their family, or they have a special educational need or a learning difficulty that they need to navigate, or they've experienced trauma. And a lot of young people have experienced trauma, traumatic events, and that can be big trauma, abuse, neglect, being in care, those kind of things, or small trauma such as breakdown of trust, parents not being emotionally available. All of those things cause barriers to learning, and they are psychological. And the way we help address those is through coaching, because coaching is a short-term intervention that can increase resourcefulness and reduce barriers to learning. So I'm going to talk about some of the common ones from the literature and how coaching helps address those. So what do barriers look like in practice? So they look like low self-esteem or self-doubt, so the crippling belief that they're not good enough, and no matter how clever they are or how capable they are or how much effort they just think they're just not good enough, to have low self-worth. That's why Worth It is called Worth It. They lack academic self-efficacy. So self-efficacy is context-specific confidence. So that self-efficacy is around their lack of ability academically. Oh, I'm just thick, I can't do this. I'm rubbish at maths, I am. You know, that kind of thing. So we need to work on not just giving them loads more learning. It's like, how do they perceive their ability to learn that learning? And how can we use a coaching approach to increase their capacity, their ability to believe that they can do it? And we usually do that through incremental, trial and error, so that they can challenge those negative, unhelpful thoughts about themselves and their abilities, and actually prove to themselves that they can do it, and that you're giving them that feedback that they can do it as well. So they're challenging their own perceptions and reframing things so that actually, yeah, I am good at this, I can do this, I'm going to do it some more. Academic self-efficacy means that they don't believe that they can succeed, so what's the point of even trying? I'm sure you've come across that. And because of that, it can increase anxiety and a lack of motivation, apathy, giving up, attendance issues, can't be bothered, what's the point? I'm never going to use this in future, what's the point of doing this, miss? That kind of stuff. Anxiety and overwhelmed as a psychological barrier can be caused by worrying about either perfectionism, worrying about not being good enough, worrying about what other people think, worrying that you're going to throw up at school. So you better not go to school because you're going to throw up at school, which can lead to, I say that because that's an actual case that I had, where a young girl, she was becoming school avoidant because she thought she was going to be sick, and she was so worried that she was going to be sick that she was avoiding going to school, because she would just die of a shame and embarrassment if she was sick at school, and everyone would laugh, and she'd built all this up into her head. See what I mean? It's a complete psychological barrier. So if we can find the root of what the issue is and then kind of address that with a range of different strategies to navigate that challenge and help them realise it's just a thought that's unhelpful. How can we reframe that thought every time that thought comes up? What strategy are you going to use to challenge and change it until it doesn't trigger you anymore, until it's not an issue anymore? And you can't just do that instantly. It takes a bit of work, especially if it's something ingrained. You've got to chip away at it over time. So persistent worry and stress makes it difficult to focus. The stressed brain cannot learn. So many children have got things going round and round in their heads, and they might be caused by barriers such as being a young carer or a lack of self-belief or whatever that is stopping them being present in the lesson. So they might be physically there, but are they mentally present, listening and absorbing and taking it in? Perfectionism is a massive issue, especially in girls. I have to do this, everything perfect, or I'm a worthless individual. So we want to be working towards helping them feel that good enough is enough, you know. Done is better than perfect, and all of those kind of things. So an intense fear of making mistakes, which can lead to procrastination because, if I can't do it perfect, I'm just going to faff around until the last minute, and then I have to just rush it, and then I can say, it's because I rushed it that's why it's not so good. They're putting all that pressure and stress on themselves to rush it all at the last minute, and that's creating this overwhelming fear all the time. It also could look like being unwilling to take on new challenges. Well, I'm not going to be very good at that new thing. I'm not going to be very good in the play, or I'm not going to be very good at a new subject. So I just won't do it because I don't know I'm going to be. I don't know that I'm going to be perfect at that thing. So I'm just going to not bother doing that thing. Imposter phenomenon. Feeling of being a fraud. I don't deserve to be here. I can't believe I'm in this set or this class or this group. I don't understand why. And it's a fear of being found out. So you've got to kind of keep that mask going. And, that's exhausting, pretending to be somebody that you're not. Social and emotional disconnection from peers or teachers can result in loneliness and isolation. When you're a teenager, especially if we're working in secondary schools, like belonging to the peer group is more important than anything else for their well-being and resilience. So if they feel they're going to be rejected by that peer group, there's friendship falling out, then that's going to massively affect how they access learning, because their brain's going to be worrying about, they said this about me, and they're talking about me in the WhatsApp group, and they're going to make a TikTok about me, and they're going to post this image of me and all that stuff. How can they sit there and, I'm just not going to go to school because it's just, I don't want to face up to it. So all those kind of fears and worries about relationships and connections, which is why if we're working on a culture of kindness and compassion and empathy and a coaching culture in your school around positive relationships and being inclusive, which is where the inclusion comes in, then you're reducing that social disconnection and you're helping build positive relationships and belonging, all important for the new Ofsted framework. So feelings of loneliness, like isolation and difficult forming positive relationships can be a barrier to learning, especially for your SEND children and young people. They're still teenagers, they still want to have a friend, it's normal, but they might not know how to access those. So any interventions around improving relationship skills and communication skills can massively help impact learning, because then you're reducing that barrier of the social pressure that comes with going to a school environment or college environment. A lack of deservingness. I don't deserve these good things that are happening to me. That makes me feel so sad. I don't deserve positive outcomes or attention or anything good to happen to me, so I'm just going to sabotage it, going to ruin it for myself because I'm worthless. And that's why if we use coaching to help young people increase their capacity in the container for them to access good stuff, then they're much more likely to move forward and achieve more for themselves. Isn't that what we want with a school environment? When students are experiencing this range of psychological barriers, you're often going to see behaviour changes. So they're going to either really be trying so hard if they've got perfectionism, or they're going to give up and not try at all, or they're going to be attendance issues, behaviour issues, distraction techniques, kicking off because I don't want to do that. So I'm going to cause a scene, and then I can get out of the class, and then I can get sent to pastoral, and it's nice in there, so I'm just going to play up, unconscious. That might be an unconscious process that someone's having. You might notice them withdrawing from social groups. You might notice, like I said, attendance and behaviour issues, avoiding participation, putting their hand up. There's a phase during adolescence where around 16, 15, where it's called the invisible audience, where young people, like the fear of looking bad and being rejected socially is cripplingly fear. So like putting your hand up and showing your knowledge in class, if that's not seen as safe in your school, if you don't want to be seen as a know-it-all or clever, or oh, it's her again putting her hand up, can be a massive psychological barrier to learning, because then you're not like achieving more, you're not growing your own learning experience because of fear of what other people think. And that's a massive real thing for adolescents. Parent and carer relationships as well, so how the relationships at home are impacting on their ability to access learning at school, because they might be stressed or worried about parents. There might be stuff going on at home that you don't know about that's causing them to feel all these psychological barriers, and they need someone to talk to about that stuff. And it's not counselling, although counselling is helpful intervention. I'm not saying don't do counselling. What I'm saying is sometimes we need coaching, which is about, I understand that all of this stuff is going on for you. How is it impacting you, and how do you want to move forward, and how can we help you with your goals-driving behaviour? What are your learning goals? What do you want to achieve? And not what goal does school want you to do, or not what goal does your parents want you to do. What do you want to do for you? What are your personal goals or aims or aspirations? And how can you help yourself move forward? And then how can we identify the things that are going to help you move forward? And then the coach, through the training and the resources that they have that I can give you and I can train you in, can help reduce those barriers and address those needs that help the young person move towards their goals. And then there's the systemic barriers, which are rooted in the community, the context, the system. We're talking about funding systems, the SEND reform, lack of CAMS, all those kind of things also create barriers. But what we want to do is help the young person feel more resourced to be able to communicate their needs, access help, believe in themselves, and build up their psychological abilities to reduce the psychological barriers that prevent them, that help them navigate the context and the situations that they're in more effectively. Because you can't change the context that young person's in, but what you can do is help them see and perceive it differently, to find opportunities and to believe in themselves, to help themselves move forward. And all of these psychological barriers can have an impact on attendance and engagement. Like I've mentioned before, it can cause behaviour issues. It can they can achieve lower because they are capable of more, but because of the psychological barriers, they are just underperforming academically because of a range of different reasons, a personal to each individual, or they are more at risk of becoming NEET. And if we can, NEET prevention is a massive priority for the government, and reducing social disadvantage to social mobility. So helping them increase their confidence, self-belief, taking opportunities, challenging themselves, being more resilient, having better communication skills and interpersonal relationships are all soft skills that help employability for the future, or help them believe that they can go to college or do an apprenticeship or go to university or get a job or whatever it is they want to do. So this is about individuals. This is about taking approaches and that are based in evidence. Positive psychology and coaching psychology are both evidence-based approaches that come together to form positive psychology coaching to increase well-being and resilience, that reduce psychological barriers and help each individual navigate the context and situations that they're in, even because we can't change the context and the situations that we're in. And that's one thing that a lot of people find very overwhelming, and they want to rescue the child or the young person from the situation, but all we can do is help them be more resourced to deal with it and navigate it and take the opportunities that they have when they're at school so that they can change their future outcomes. Basically, that's what my organisation is about, and that's why I founded it. So if you're interested in finding out more about coaching, I've talked about coaching and how it can help reduce psychological barriers. Coaching can be the targeted support that's part of the SEND reform that schools are going to be having to publish on their inclusion strategy plan that they need to publish on their school website by December 2026. So I am proposing, and I am going to talk about this until the cows come home, that coaching can be an effective targeted intervention. It can help improve access to learning, it can help reduce psychological barriers, it can help children and young people navigate the social disadvantage and other barriers that they have in their lives by resourcing them with internal resilience and well-being. It's an inclusive approach because it's person-centred, and we're looking at each individual child or young person. We're saying, what's going on for you, what do you need help with, and how can we help you, by using the coaching skills and approach. If you want to find out more about coaching and how it can help young people, then do my free 18-minute mini course which is an introduction to coaching on people, which talks about why coaching is important and how it can help meet a range of needs for young people. And if you're interested in anything else I've mentioned today, I've got a blog about psychological barriers to resilience, so have a look at that. And also check out my website, and I've got lots of free resources, and I've got a free resilience coaching workbook that you can access, which is a bit of a taster of how you can use coaching as an approach to help student resilience. So that's all for today, and I'll see you again soon.